Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, please call the roll.
Director Dixon?
Here.
Director Mishler?
Here.
Director Magner?
Here.
Director Kelly? Here. Chairman Malloy?
Here. Item 4, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments?
We're going to pull item for presentation 5B and move that to a different board meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly? Aye. Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Item 5, presentations. Tonight's district highlights will be given to us by our graphics wizard, Emily Robb.
Hello and good evening, Chairman Malloy and members of the Board of Directors, and greetings to everybody else in the room. My name is Emily. I am a recreation specialist for the district, and I'm going to be walking you through the highlights and the spotlight for the district this evening with my magical wand. Okay. All right, first up we have the Senior Center. Current events include the semi-annual rummage sale. It was held on Saturday, April 14th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. It was held in the community center parking lot, and it pretty much filled up the whole front area of our parking lot. 92 parking spaces were sold, so we really had a great turnout of sellers, and $2,400 was raised in revenue, which is pretty awesome. Also for the Senior Center, we have their monthly movie and lunch coming up tomorrow on Thursday, May 3rd. That's going to be held at the Community Center Auditorium. Lunch will be served at noon for just $5. You do need to remember to pre-register for the lunch. Food is sponsored by Pickup Sticks, and it features Chinese salad, house chicken, steamed rice, and vegetable chow mein. The movie, which follows right after lunch, is free. This month's movie is called Megan Levy, and that will be shown at 1 p.m. right after the lunch. The Senior Center is holding an upcoming excursion to Santa Anita horse races. That's going to be on Thursday, June 7th. The cost is only $85 per person, and that includes a round-trip motor coach ride to the racetrack, along with a sit-down luncheon and reserved seats in the club court area. I know it says reserve now, but I just found out today that that is completely booked. So better luck next time, I guess. And remember to just register early for these events and excursions. But that's okay. They have another excursion coming up. This one looks pretty cool. I kind of want to go on it. It's the Getty Villa excursion. That's going to be on Saturday, June 23rd. Bus transportation will be provided from the community center to Malibu. And you get to enjoy a guided tour through the ancient Roman-style gardens. Then you can also have free time to explore the many art collections that they have at the Getty. And it only costs $35, so that's pretty cool. And do remember to register early for this excursion. Okay, for our sports department. For adult softball and kickball, we have team registration going on April 30th through May 23rd. Play begins on June 4th. And for more information and for registration, you can actually visit our website at PVRPD.org. Next up is adult basketball. Team registration for basketball runs from May 29th to June 6th, and play starts on June 18th. And once again, for info and to register, you can visit our website, pvrpd.org. Special events. We have some cool things coming up, like our annual National Trails Day. That will be held on Saturday, June 2nd at Camarillo Grove Park. And we are putting a call out for volunteers from our community to come out and help us maintain the beautiful hiking trails that we have there. Work on the trails will start at 9 a.m. that day. And we got a donation from Noah's Bagels, so we'll be able to provide a free breakfast for our Trails Work volunteers. Next up that day, we have a free live bird show by the Hawk Pros. They have a couple different species of wild hawks that they're going to bring out, and so you can get up close and personal and see these amazing animals. That starts at 11 a.m. And then after that, we have a free guided nature hike at 11:30. I've been on a couple of those myself, and really cool what these experts can show you when it comes to local wildlife, the plants and animals that we have that you never really think about until you just take a moment to open up your eyes and look. Parking fees at Camarillo Grove Park will be waived all day that day. So come on out and enjoy it. All right, more for special events. We have our annual Movies in the Park series coming up. That will begin on July 13th with the movie Toy Story. We have a lot of other movies, and to see the movie lineup, you can check out our website. Movies will be played on Friday nights. The movies start at dusk, so basically when it gets dark enough to actually see the outdoor movie screen. The cool thing this year, two cool things. One is we actually have live entertainment before each movie. We have some bands from Rock City Studios, which will be coming out to do live performances from 6 to 8 p.m. Before the movie starts. And then we have food trucks that are going to be on site too. So come out, have dinner, and just enjoy a cool evening with your family and friends. Okay, the Aquatic Center. We have some specialty classes coming up this month. One is the Patty Scuba on May 12th. There are multiple levels and times available. Prices vary. We also have a water safety instructor class, May 14th through 17th from 4 to 8 p.m. The cost is $259, and then there's also a Red Cross fee. Another cool class coming up is the lifeguard training with the Title 22 certification. That's May 28th through 31st from 4 to 9 p.m. The cost is $253 plus a Red Cross fee as well. Now, I know a couple of young people who've taken this class, and they've really gone on to do some amazing things, like work as EMTs and do life-saving professions like that. So it's really a cool class that we offer, I think. Another class coming up is the springboard diving, which is May 11th through 25th on Fridays. The cost is $53. Beginners class goes from 4 to 5:30, and the advanced class is from 5:30 to 7. Okay, more cool stuff at the Aquatic Center. Pool parties. Have you ever thought about having a pool party for your kid's birthday? This is a great place to do it at our Indoor Aquatic Center. We have Saturdays and Sundays available, but make sure you RSVP because those spaces fill up really quick. We have a lot of summer camps coming up at the Aquatic Center. Registration for those starts Friday. And again, space is limited, so register early. We also have new swim lesson sessions beginning on May 7th and 21st. These are for all ages, and you can register through our website at pvrpd.org. Okay, moving on to classes and camps. For outdoor education, we have a couple cool hikes coming up. We have the 10 Essentials of Wilderness Survival held at Camarillo Grove Park on May 5th. And it's pretty cool. They teach you how to use a compass, how to use a signaling mirror, the importance of bringing hydration and food when you're going out for a hike in the wilderness. Then we also have a diabetes wellness hike also at Camarillo Grove Park on May 5th. Then moving over to Mission Oaks Park, we have a birds and butterflies guided nature hike on May 19th. And these guided nature hikes, I've really enjoyed the ones I've been on. That bird photo and the butterfly photo I took on the bird and butterfly hike that I went on last year. So they're really cool. Please do remember to pre-register for all hikes. And then we have a very fun horseback riding class coming up. It's 4 weeks on Saturdays at Peck Farms. Okay, more classes. We have cool parent and child classes, including kinder music, which happens on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for ages 3 months to 5 years. And then we have some preschool age classes at Dos Caminos Park. And those have been so very successful that we are now actually running them 5 days a week. And they have a variety of fun themes for 2 to 5 year olds. I've actually attended a couple of these classes to help out, and the kids just have so much fun. And they learn how to get used to a school environment, so I think it's very educational for them. We have an etiquette class coming up called Manners That Matter for ages 10 to 14, and that starts on May 19th. For summer classes, you can register online starting May 4th and in our office starting May 7th. Summer camps. Oh my goodness, we have so much going on for summer camps. Our brand new summer activity guide that just came out, we actually have 4 whole pages of summer camps. So please check that out. Some of the camps that we have to offer are ballet, Bricks for Kids, Cats Theater, horseback riding, junior ranger, outdoor survival, and soccer. A couple different sports camps here. We've got golf, basketball. We also have ceramics and mad science, wild about art, preschool, sandbox computers, and Playwell technology. So a lot going on for summer camps. We also have some staff-taught camps in addition to contract instructor-led camps. These include Camp Funtastic, Junior Lifeguard Camp, Pirate Mermaid Camp, and Water Polo Camp, which the last 3 are aquatic center. Okay, guys, did you know that July is National Park and Recreation Month? And us staff in the recreation department are getting pretty excited about it. This year's theme for the month is a lifetime of discovery. And we really want to use this month to invite people from the community to come out and experience all that we have to offer. So from July 1st to July 31st, we are going to be offering just really a ton of free events so people can just dive into parks and recreation with us. For example, we've got some guided hikes going on, can I remember this? Customer Appreciation Days, scavenger hunt, Independence Day dance, dog park events with Friends of Camarillo Dog Parks. We have a family float night, which we're renting a huge inflatable, I think it's an obstacle course, for kids to play on in the pool. There's, of course, our Movies in the Park series, concerts in the park, Paint the Park, and Beach Cleanup Day. And really, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have a lot more going on in July, so please check out our website for a full list coming soon, and come out and play with us. Okay, that's all for the highlights. Now we're moving on to the district spotlight. And this month we're looking at Mission Oaks Park. Okay, Mission Oaks Park is located at 5501 Mission Oaks Boulevard, right there on the map. And this park features 20 acres. It's a really nice big park to play at. It was developed in 1983. It's got a very large playground area. It has a couple of covered picnic shelters, tennis courts, softball fields, an amphitheater, and an off-leash dog park, just to name a few of the amenities of this park. So picnic shelters, there are 3 of them. Each one accommodates up to 60 people. All 3 shelters can be reserved for up to 180 people. The shelters have tables, barbecue, and sink, and they're located right next to the playground. So great place to have a party. We also have at Mission Oaks Park 6 lighted tennis courts, and these are used for district programming. Contract instructors use them. They can be rented, used for tournaments, and community use, of course. We also have 3 lighted softball fields, which are used for district programming. Camarillo Girls Softball Association makes use of them. They're also used for rentals, tournaments, and general community use. So Mission Oaks Park, it's a great place to hold your event. So if you'd like to reserve a spot at this park, you can call the district office at 805-482-1996. Okay, the district's urban forest. And to be honest, I was just blown away when I was putting this slide together. Did you know we have 3,459 trees? I just think that's so incredible. So recently, 68 trees have been removed due to liability concerns. We've also pruned over 40 of these trees. And we planted approximately 30 trees recently throughout the district. And I believe Arbor Day was just a couple of weeks ago. So, hey, we totally celebrated Arbor Day by planting all those trees. Okay, and the Charter Oak Windrow, which is kind of a walking path that leads to Charter Oak Park. Here we removed 6 trees. We pruned 21 trees and planted 6 New Zealand Christmas trees. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you, Emily. Great presentation, as always. Okay. Lanny.
Hi there. Chairman Malloy, members of the board. Tonight I would like to introduce the Eagles Soccer Club for their annual update. I'm president, and tonight I'd like to introduce Kathleen Kelly, the president of the Eagles Soccer Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So to the board, to Chairman Malloy and the rest of the board, thank you for letting me come tonight and talk to you a little bit about the Eagles and what we've been up to for the last year. My name is Kathleen Kelly, and I am the president of the Eagles. The Eagles were started in 1978 by a few dads, and their home field was Valley Lindo, which we still use today. So after 40 years, it's our 40th anniversary of the Eagles. We're stronger and more financially fit than we've ever been. Our focus has always been on the kids, on the players, and giving them a place to learn about teamwork and being in a positive environment. And the Eagles are family to us. It's a very close-knit family. This past year, we've made some changes to our staff. In August, our treasurer, who had been with us for 15 years, left for a full-time position. And so we kind of panicked, but we hired a CPA to take over. So we've kind of adjusted everything, and everything is kind of in a more professional manner as far as our financials go, and the ability to look at things online and to have things done and to get reports really quickly. It's very automated now. And that's resulted in the elimination of some of our other positions in the club that were no longer needed once the CPA firm took over everything. So we're going to use those funds to hopefully upgrade Valley Lindo once the decision from the Park District and School District is made about what to do with the fencing or that they're proposing. And then we're also looking to buy another golf cart and some new goals and stuff. So right now we're registering our players for the upcoming season, which we do start in May of each year. And this past season we played in 3 soccer leagues. We played in the Coast Soccer League, which is played in the fall, which the majority of our teams play in. We also played in what's called the Development Players League, which was a new league that came about because of the U.S. Soccer League that we also play in. So they're kind of like, they call them, the U.S. Soccer League is the academy, and this is like the Academy 2. It's the next tier down, which we prepare the players to move up to the academy level. So, and those 2 leagues are year-round leagues. Those players play up to 12 months a year all over the world, all over the country, the United States. And their games are attended by hundreds of soccer coaches from every school you could imagine. And this year, we had 35 girls sign letters of intent for Division I schools. With still more going to Division II, Division III, NAIA, and so forth. So it's really rewarding for us that we have the faction of the player that is looking for more than just playing, in a local league and things, that they actually want to play in college and beyond. So that's been really exciting for us. So, this coming fall, we are going to be starting our first recreational youth soccer league for 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. It was kind of a gap where people were requesting, a lot of people requested that we start this recreational league for players to get a little bit more instruction that they would get in other leagues. So we will have some of our staff will be coaching them on the weekends and also training them during the week. They'll have Saturday morning games on short-sided fields, and so we started the sign-ups for that. So we'll see how that goes. Something new for us. But and then this last season, we had, we run our tournaments to do our fundraising, and our March tournament was rained out. So that kind of hit us financially as far as income from our fundraisers to have something like that happen. But that one weekend in March when it rained, that was our tournament. So we didn't have that. And other than that, I just want to tell you about 2 special players that have come out of the Eagles program. One of them is Kiki Pickett, who started playing for the Eagles when she was 12 and joined the U.S. Soccer under-13 team that year, and since then has played on every national level team all the way up to now. She just helped the under-20 team qualify for the World Cup for her age group, and will be playing this summer in August in France on that team. She also has a full ride. She's a freshman at Stanford University also. And then the other one is Haley Mace, who graduated from high school, I think 3 years ago, and got heavily recruited by UCLA, went to UCLA on a full ride, and is now playing on the women's national team. She got her first, she played 30 minutes in an international match last month for the first time for her first cap, which they call them. And she's the #1 scorer at UCLA, scoring 15 goals last season. And she is now an all-league, first team All-American. And both these girls came out of the Eagles program. And we're so proud of them, and they come back whenever they're in town, whenever they're home. They come back and share their stuff with the little girls, and it's very rewarding for us. So other than that, thank you so much for allowing us to use Pleasant Valley Fields for our teams to practice and play on. The condition of the fields has always been a top priority for our club, and we do our best not to abuse the privilege of being able to use them And thank you to the staff, to Lanny especially, for all the help that they give me on a day-to-day basis to do what I have to do. So that's it.
Thank you, Kathleen. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I had a couple. What under revenue you have fundraisers and scholarships, $95,000. Is it fundraisers slash scholarships? So it's fundraisers that are for giving scholarships. Is that what that means?
Yeah. This particular one is the golf tournament, which those funds are that we raise at the golf tournament. We use for scholarships, for financial aid, for players.
Okay, because that actually doesn't show up under your expenses. So that money, does that cycle back up into the registration? Is that used for registration fees?
Yes, that's exactly what it's used for.
Okay.
To offset registration fees for families that need help.
Okay. And you're under your expenses, the most expensive item you have is trainers.
Yes.
At $850,000. Is that how many trainers is that?
We have 30 teams in Camarillo, 31 maybe, and so I would say we probably, I don't know, they were all over for dinner last night. There was probably 20 of them.
20. Okay.
And a number of them, this is their full-time job. This is they coach a number of teams, but yes, the trainers, they get paid.
Yeah. That looks like that's the majority item in your entire budget.
Yes, it is.
The under the field maintenance at Pleasant Valley Fields, $15,500. What kind of maintenance are we talking about there?
Lining the fields. It's basically for maintaining the equipment and things like that. It doesn't include anything that goes towards the district money. It's just, that's the lights that we use, all of that.
Okay.
Anything we pay to play at Pleasant Valley.
Okay, so it's more of a field expense than a
Yes.
maintenance
Yes.
item. Yeah.
Yeah.
Valley Lindo, is that under maintenance again? $25,000. Is that Valley Lindo Park? That's Valley Lindo Park. Was that
It's
where?
actually the school district.
Okay.
But that's what we paid to, we maintain the grass out there, and that we also maintain the grass in the schoolyard, in the
Okay.
back schoolyard for the school.
Okay. Now that field kind of overlaps into the park and the school?
It does,
Or?
Which is hence what I was talking about when I was saying that we're waiting for a decision. The fields that we use, if we use the whole field, it actually goes into the park district's fields, because the school district ends at the fence and we use it, I don't know how many feet more, but it actually does go into the park district.
Okay. So is the $25,000, is that a fee you pay to the school to use
No,
their?
that's the fee we pay to maintain. We have the grass mowed, we fertilize it, we maintain the sprinklers. That's what that fee is.
Okay. Does the school charge you to use that site?
No, but we maintain like I said, we pay to mow their grass too for them.
Do they then have access for that as a playground or something during the
Well,
daytime?
they use the field, the one that we play on. They use that for recess, and then they also use the backfield that's inside their fencing, because there's no fence around the other.
And so with the swapping of the schools that's going on, you're not sure what's going to happen with that arrangement, or did I miss that? Isn't that the site that I have the wrong school?
Yeah, that's not that school's not being affected. It's the one that's on Bedford and.
Oh,
right
okay,
next to
okay,
Dillsbury.
okay.
It's a
sorry.
charter school right now, so it's
Correct.
not in the Pleasant Valley School District.
No, okay. I was mistaken. There's a charter school that's being swapped with the school district for something else. So, okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks.
Elaine?
Yeah, Kathleen, I noticed saying you're going from 600 to 650. Is that the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds that you're planning on increasing your registration with?
Yes.
So about 50,
Yeah, well, we actually want 46 players. I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's the model that we have right now. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, other than that, it pretty, much we maintain it. We don't, our practice space doesn't really increase, so we can't really go over that number.
Okay. I think we all talk about this every year, but please refresh my mind on how you spend more money than you make in your snack bar. So,
Because our philosophy is that we will provide a full-service snack bar. I mean, it's not necessarily there to make money. It's there to just take care of itself. So we've actually, actually last March or April, our longtime snack bar person quit the position, and we hired a new snack bar person that has more experience in that, and she actually has, I think we made a couple $1,000s in the league season this year. So, but then we had to buy some stuff. So anyway, she's hoping to make a profit, but we're more about just making sure it's stocked, and we have such a high variety of foods that that's why.
okay. All right. Thank
And we
you.
buy high quality food.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Director Mishler.
Hey, Kathleen, and thank you very much. For people who don't know, you've been at this for many, many years. I think 96 is when you started there, if I'm not mistaken, and stuff. So thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. What is your player registration cost for the kids who are older? Do you have different rates for different age groups?
Well, we have different rates for different leagues. Like I said, so for the Coast Soccer League, they pay $2,000 a year. For the Development Players League, they pay $2,400 a year. And then for the DA, which practices 4 days a week, and they have to have athletic trainers on site for every practice and every game, and a strength and conditioning coaches on top of the coaches and assistant coaches. They pay $2,800 a year.
And they practice 4 times a week?
Well, they practice, or they meet
Work
4
out.
times. They watch film, and they go to gyms, and they do different things. But they have to meet that's
Okay.
the requirement.
Thank you. So when I look down at, and I'm just trying to understand the numbers, I like the way your numbers are broken down. It's nice to see them that way. Where is when you say income for tournaments, that's obviously parking cost, and do they have to pay a fee to come in there?
The part?
No, the teams or something to play at that
The
site?
teams have to pay.
There's a
an
fee or
entry
entry fee or whatever. Okay. So now when you have your tournament expenses and it's under miscellaneous, you got, like last year it was 65, and this year you're looking at a budget of 90,000. What are your expenses? Because you got lining and things. So what's that 90,000 going to? I'm just confused.
Referees, which is about 30,000. Let me think. Probably. Let me see here. Do I have trophies and pins already? So.
Well, trophies are there. Porta potties are there. You have a golf cart rental.
Yeah, we have golf cart rental. Probably.
I'm just surprised that number's large. I mean, I just can't. I'm just trying to understand what makes up that 90,000.
That mostly referees. About half of that is referees, and then I would say, the rest is the hiring the people that run our registration online, and charge the credit card, take the credit cards online. It's a software company called TGS. That's quite expensive, and you know what? I can't even tell you off the top of my head what else is on there, but let me think for a second. Lining the fields. Oh, I already got that on there. I think that. Yeah, so I think that.
I mean, I've run many tournaments with an ASO, but I'm just trying to understand where
the
those.
tournament director gets paid. He gets a percentage of the.
So you have paid staff out there running the thing.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then we also pay kids from Cal Lutheran soccer players to run the parking lots for us. We pay the guy that from the Eagles that maintains, runs up and down the parking lot in the golf cart all day, making sure everything is good. He's paid. So, yeah, that all just adds in there.
Okay.
So it's just those expenses.
Okay, thank you for that. On the two players you mentioned earlier who went off to college, and you had the two examples, were they in Camarillo? Were they others? They're in Ventura County somewhere?
One of them is from Ventura, and one was from Santa Barbara.
Okay. And again, I just want to thank you for all your years of service. You guys, you don't get paid. People should know that. You're not part of the paid staff or anything. And it's obviously a lot of work and time to do this and stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen. I hope to see you again next year.
I hope so too.
You've been at this a long time, and it's quite an organization that you have here. And
Well, it's fun because it's ever changing. There's always lots of good stuff going on. So it's kind of exciting.
yeah, well, you have a lot of really dedicated people,
Yes.
and it shows.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
And thank you to everyone.
Okay. Item 6, public comment. I only have one card, and that would be Matthew Lormer. He wants to talk about restrooms.
Before I talk about restrooms, I'm going to talk about we need term limits for the Camarillo City Council. They've been in office for over 100 years. If you'd like to sign, you can go to the farmer's market between 8 and 12. That's it for that. I wanted to talk about restrooms. I went to the 50s Expo. You guys have something in common with McDonald's, and I'm going to explain what that is. The Expo was really great, by the way. A little cold. But, I was talking to vendors. I don't know if some of you guys were out there. The bathrooms, it started in the women's bathroom, Bob, and maintenance, I got to tell you, that is really great. You know why? Because a lot of the vendors said, once they get the men's side, I'd like to have a wedding here. I'd like to plan an event. You guys should put it in the book and say, look what we've done in-house. We've saved money for the taxpayers. You guys are not having it done outside. It's great. And I got to tell you, the workmanship is just wonderful if you've seen it. And you know something? I think, what we had, they were feeding meals that day in those rooms. I think if you redid the floors, did some paint, I really think you could raise rates by 25%. And I got to tell you, it's just great. I mean, I got to tell you that the vendors there, the women that came in, they've been, some of the people that have been there to that event, the vendors said the women's restroom is just fabulous. It really is great, And what do you have in common with McDonald's? Back in the 90s, McDonald's learned a hard lesson. Their sales were plummeting across this nation. And what they found out is they talked to women, and they said, what's the deal? What's your number one complaint at McDonald's? The restrooms. The restrooms were always clean here, but they were really dated. And now, I got to tell you, that maintenance people, it's time to say thank you to them. We maybe have a grand reopening when you get the other side done. And I got to tell you, it's just great. I know I'm hooked on restrooms. My son's hooked on restrooms. He's got autism. So I asked Bob. I actually pulled Bob. I said, Bob, can you go look at the restroom? And, of course, we cleared the women out, of course. But I saw that restroom, and I got to tell you, it's fantastic. I tell you. And I think you guys will see improvement in the numbers if you advertise that as a great place to have a wedding, great place to have a business conference. I really think you're going to see some increase in funds there. It's great. Should be proud of it. And what's good? They always complain about government. But you guys did it in-house. You saved money, and it's great to see that. And you know something? It's great to see workers that do good jobs. And so I just want to thank the maintenance department. Great job. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Matt. You've told us a lot of things over the years, and I never expected to hear raise your rates because you have a nice bathroom. So thank you. Thank you for noticing. The patio next to the auditorium also came out really nice. That was also an in-house project. So that whole building is looking much better. Okay, item 7, consent agenda. Do we have anybody that wants to pull anything off the consent agenda? Seeing Mike?
7A.
7A. Okay. All right. What page number is that in our packet, Mike?
Page 6 of 199. Well, we had to vote on the other ones
So
first.
do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 7A?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Call the roll.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
Aye.
Director Kelly. Aye. Chairman Malloy.
Aye. Okay, 7A, you said 6, so I assume that's the March 29th special meeting?
This will be, yes, the minutes for the March 29th special meeting with the city. And I have on page 6 of our handout out of 199, we're going down under 5. And then on page 6, there's a very long sentence. I'm very impressed. I don't know if that's the longest sentence I've ever seen in my entire life. It goes on forever and ever there, the last sentence of just before you hit number 8, adjournment. And at the bottom of that long sentence, I'm proposing that we add a sentence in there, and I'll read it here. City Council and Pleasant Valley Rec and Park District Board agreed that the consultants need to work with the liaison committee to make sure that all RFP requirements are completed. So that's just one sentence I wanted to add in there at the very end of that, before we get to number 8.
Okay.
You want me to read that again?
Karen, have you got it?
You got it?
She's got it, okay. Any questions or comments?
Because that was what we ended up with at the meeting. That was our,
Right, yeah. Any questions or comments, Elaine?
No, I just don't see the reason for it, but whatever.
Is it what is that language exactly and commensurate with what happened at the meeting?
I don't think so.
that's what we agreed at the end of the meeting. We had a discussion between the city council and ourselves. And what we all agreed to do was to have the liaison committee go back and work with the consultants to make sure that all the requirements under the RFP were completed, because they had missed a bunch of stuff and left it out of the draft report. And so we had to make sure that everything was brought up. And that was the one thing that the city and the board all agreed to at the end of that meeting.
The problem is that I don't have a good enough memory to because that's really it could be considered a revision of the minutes, and instead of the minutes, because I don't know how many board members.
It is a revision. I mean, it's adding information that isn't in here, so.
But it's what actually occurred at the end of our meeting. Yes, we did.
We didn't vote on anything, Mike.
We all agreed. I didn't say vote.
I didn't say we all agreed either.
All 5 city council members and most of the board all agreed that the next step going forward was to have the liaison committee meet with the consultants to make sure that all the RFP requirements were completed. And it's on video. We can go back and listen to it and look and watch it if you want to. But that's what actually occurred.
I'm not going to put anything in our minutes that the city council did, because I don't think we can speak for the city council in our minutes.
I didn't say the city council. The city council and us both agreed to do this, Elaine.
I don't know that we actually formally called a roll or took a.
No, it was no official vote. We all stated, we had a statement at the end, and everybody agreed to that. You can ask Mary what her regulation is. No, I'm just asking. This is the factual. This is not political policy.
No.
I'm not changing it.
Nobody thinks that, I don't think. When minutes are done, they are done by, even if you're watching a tape, they're done by the best recollection of the person taking the minutes.
So a person taking minutes can add something in maybe that's not exactly like it was said. Okay, there's a certain license for a little of that. At the same time, they may not put something in that was there. And so I'm not saying that Director Mishler is doing something inappropriate, but I think if we are going to add something, we should make sure that the minutes as amended accurately reflect what happened at the meeting.
Maybe
And that's why I made that statement.
Yeah, maybe it would be more acceptable if we said, rather than all members agreed, that it would be a recommendation was made that. Because I don't know that we can necessarily, with only 5 of the 10 people who were involved in that meeting, I don't know that we can necessarily say that everyone there agreed. And I don't have a recollection that every person spoke out in agreement of that statement. I do remember it was a discussion, and I remember you brought it up and pointed out the deficiencies in their report. But I don't know that we have any formal roll call that everybody agreed on that. So I would feel more comfortable with saying a recommendation was made, and even if that was only one person, a recommendation was made.
There was no vote on it. I didn't say there was a vote.
Well,
Maybe you should reread your sentence so that we're clear on what it is, because I think different people have different visions of what you asked to be added.
Okay, so the next, I had to think out loud here, but I'm saying the next step, we were discussing about what to do next. What's the next step to do? And there are various questions going back and forth. And what the city council and we agreed to as a board is that the very next step to do was to have the liaison committee go back and talk to the consultants, pull out the RFP, and make sure all the requirements were completed, because that was a draft report to get to the final report. And there were a lot of deficits, a lot of things that weren't covered in the draft report that had to be covered. And everybody agreed in terms of the next step to do was to move forward with the liaison committee meeting with the consultants. Isn't that what we agreed to? You don't remember that?
I remember the conversation quite well, but I didn't agree to anything, so.
Well, what's our next?
There was no vote, there was no nothing.
No, I didn't say there was a vote.
I'm like Director Dixon in that there was a recommendation that we do that. I don't remember there being a vote. I don't remember everybody talking about it. I think maybe 5 or 6 people talked about it.
Yeah,
and us being quiet didn't mean that we were accepting that.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody's disagreeing with you, Mike. I think the issue is that I don't know that we can necessarily sit here and say that all members present agreed to that. I think we can say it is a recommendation was made that all of the aspects of the.
I didn't say every single person agreed with it, but I said the city council and our board agreed with that. You can ask. Huh? Ask Mary if that's no. Am I off base there? I'm asking. Well, we can play it back on video. Do we have it on video?
Well, I think the semantic part right now, if I'm understanding, is that there was no official vote. So without an official vote to say we are going to do this, I think that what we are looking at semantically was that the next step was to go back to the liaison to look at the draft and then to make sure that we came up with different plans and looked at that more specifically. So I think that there was action steps to go back to the liaison, and I think that's a fair assessment to go back to the liaison.
Can we use the word guidance?
I think that we could probably use guidance for that. So I think the direction or the recommendation was to go back to the liaison for guidance on the final draft and to meet the RFP.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I don't want it to say that all of the council members and all of the board.
That wouldn't say that. So what it would be is.
I never implied that.
So what we would look at is the recommendation would be for the draft report to go back to the liaison committee to look at, to ensure that it met the RFP specs. So you don't even put in board or, you wouldn't put in board or city council. What you're doing is the recommendation, it would go back to the liaison committee for further consultation.
Chairman Malloy, can we have them taken it out and taken it off the agenda and brought back to the next board meeting?
You know, I really think that's necessary. If you read the third of the last line, included in the minutes is this, because the mega sentence that we referred to is Karen was describing all the different topics that are covered. Need for the liaison committee to work with Greenplay on the plan options and additional information. I think that sufficiently describes what it is we want. And, you know, no one's going to forget the RFP conversation and all that. I don't think we need to modify this to cover what did there. And I already know that staff is working with the contractor moving on. So I think we're trying to be too detailed here. That's my take.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written, as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Director Mishler?
Yes?
Was that Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, new items for discussion and action. Consideration and adoption of Resolution 591, declaring intent to levy assessments for fiscal year 2018-19, preliminarily approving engineer's report and providing for notice of hearing for Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District for the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District. And next time I have one that long to read, I'll take a swig of water first.
Good evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to ask that the board adopt Resolution 591, accepting the engineer's report for the assessment district and scheduling the public hearing for our next board meeting on June 6th. The assessment district's formation and process went as followed. In February and March of 2001, the district conducted a ballot processing. There was a 45-day period that was provided for balloting. A public hearing was conducted on March 21st of 2001, and a final balloting hearing was held with 58.7% of the ballots in favor of a benefited assessment. It was formed in 2001 due to limited revenues, growing community, and expanding park acreage. Further funding shortfalls, or future funding shortfalls, were anticipated. It was created to improve park maintenance, fund future maintenance needs, as well as fund capital improvement projects. Currently, the district provides park facilities and rec programs for over 26,200 parcels. The district currently owns and operates 28 neighborhood, community, and regional parks. These are the different zones for the assessment district. If you notice, we have Zone A, B, and C. A receives a fully benefited assessment tax on their property tax bill. B receives a quarter benefit, and that's based on, I'm going to read this verbatim, approximately 4 times further removed from the park district's facilities as those in Zone A. So what that's saying is those parcels are 4 times removed from the facilities within Zone A. And Zone C, which consists of Leisure Village and the Springs, receives a quarter benefit. So they are taxed at 0.25% of the fully benefited rate. In fiscal year 2017-18, the assessment district was increased by 1.96%, or that's 75 cents per parcel. The total cost of the parcel equated to $38.95, which generated $1,072,000 in assessment district funds. For fiscal year 2018-19, the CPI came in at 3.6%, but we're only allowed to raise the tax by 3%. So that extra 0.6 will be carried over to the following year. In the event, let's say the CPI comes in at 2%, we can then attach that 0.6 and the increase would be 2.6%. With the 3% increase, that's a $1.17 increase per parcel, with a new parcel tax of a fully benefited, which would be Zone A, of $40.12, which would generate a little over $1.1 million in assessment funds. This evening, I'm asking that the board adopt Resolution 591, accepting the engineer's report and scheduling the public hearing for June 6th, 2018. Any questions or comments?
Anybody? Any questions?
I had one, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, Dr. Dixon?
No, no questions.
We've done this 17 times now, so.
Yep.
But I think this is one of the highest increases. It's been quite a while since we had a 3% cost of living increase.
I know what the question was. We had no rollover from last year?
No, we did not.
Okay,
It was,
so I have a further, if we do another 3% next year, does that 0.6 keep rolling?
Correct.
Okay, I didn't know if it was only good for a year. That was what my question, thank you. I'll make a motion if you're ready.
We're ready.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 591, accepting the engineer's report and schedule the public hearing for June 6, 2018.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Chairman Malloy.
Aye. You can see the headline in the Acorn. Park District raises taxes. Gobsmacked by tax increase. Okay, item 8B. Consideration and approval of bid award for tennis court resurfacing and court conversion at Bob Kildee Park.
Good
Nick.
evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board. Nick Marienthal, Park Supervisor, and tonight staff is recommending that the board approve and authorize the general manager to enter into agreement with True Line Construction and Servicing for the tennis court resurfacing and pickleball court conversion at Bob Kildee Park. At the March 2018 board meeting, the board approved a budget of $68,400 for this project to include resurfacing all the courts, converting two tennis courts into 4 pickleball courts, making 1 court into a multi-use court, fence repair, and converting courts 4 and 5 back to dedicated tennis courts. The district has seen an increase in pickleball players within our community.
Nick, before you go on,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Can we go back to that slide?
Sure.
Just to make sure we're all clear about this, because all the courts are going to be resurfaced.
Yes, every single
Because
court.
if you read this word for word, it looks like one court's not going to be touched, but all the courts are going to be resurfaced,
Yes,
correct?
every court there
Yeah.
will be resurfaced.
I just want to make sure that people at home understand that. We're doing the whole complex there for those courts.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the district has seen an increase in pickleball players within our community. The National Recreation and Park Association recognizes 1 tennis court should be available for every 4,300 people living in a community. Tennis is stable with the number of people playing on a national and local level. Currently, the district has 22 courts. To meet the national requirement, the district should maintain a minimum of 16 courts. So we have a few over. Pickleball is a growing sport with up to 2.1 million people playing nationally. No criteria is set yet, as this is a relatively new sport. So what we're offering for pickleball right now is at Freedom Gym 3 days a week. Mondays and Wednesdays it's 8:30 a.m. to 11:30, and Tuesdays 11:30 to 2. The district painted painted lines on 2 tennis courts at Bob Kildee Park. District also hired a contract instructor to teach pickleball lessons and run a league, and approximately 35 participants registered. So here's the projected scope of work, with the bottom being the new pickleball courts in the red, and the blue being the multi-use court, and then up top will be all tennis courts. And here's another slide, a little closer up, of the pickleball courts. So the bid results, True Line came in at 36,000 and Pacific Courts came in at 48, almost 49,000. So the scope of work will be to clean and remove all the dirt, loose paint, and residue from the surface, clean and patch all the cracks, spalls, and chips, convert 2 tennis courts into 4 pickleball courts, and 1 tennis court into a multi-use court to be used by both tennis and pickleball. Apply primer, provide 2 even textured acrylic color surfacing on the concrete tennis and pickleball courts, built to U.S. tennis court and track builder specifications, paint all tennis and pickleball lines with approved paint and color. The materials we are requiring are PlexiPave or equivalent to PlexiPave. The fiscal impact would be $36,600 for the court portion of this project, and fence repairs approximately $9,000. Bringing the total project cost to $45,600. So again, it is recommended the board approve and authorize the general manager to enter into agreement with True Line Construction and Surfacing for the tennis court and pickleball court conversions at Bob Kildee Park. And is there any questions?
Mike?
Yeah, hi, Nick. Is this the same company? We've done this a couple of years. Over the last couple of years, we've resurfaced some of our basketball courts and our tennis courts up by Springville and stuff, for example. Is this the same company or a different company?
We've used both of those companies before. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head which court they did last, or basketball court.
So both of them do good work,
both of
you're
them have
saying?
worked for us.
You're happy with both of them?
Yes.
So this was just based purely on the cost, of course.
Well, yeah, the cost, and they bid it apples to apples, so they both bid on the exact same RFP and all the specs.
Is there any reason why it's nice that it comes in below what we were thinking?
Yeah.
But is there a reason for that? Is there a reason for that? Do you know why?
I think he'll be doing more hands-on, doing the work himself. I do believe than the other contractor had more overhead with staffing.
Okay, I'm just wondering. Thanks.
Dr. Dixon?
I don't really have any questions. I just my comment is this is something that's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
When I was the board chair last year, I sort of made it my personal goal that we get this done last year, and we didn't quite reach it, but I'm very happy that we finally did.
Well, we are moving forward.
And especially under budget, so that's great. Thanks.
No questions? Oh,
I do. Nick, can you go over again? I must have had some brain fade or something. Why the fence repair is? It's not all repair, is it?
Yeah, so all the bottom rail has pretty much rotted out. The tension wires, it's all original, for 49 years old. I mean, we've patched it here and there, but the curl on the fence just over time. So we're trying to just straighten all that out.
I've been out there and I've seen that. It's just that maybe I don't know how much things cost these days, but it didn't seem like there was $9,000 worth of fence work there.
Yeah, and that that was the lowest out of 3. I had 3 quotes come in for that, and that was the lowest.
Okay.
It was, I believe, from 12 to the 9.
Looks like you did your due diligence.
So. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to have piping along the bottom now?
Yeah, so all the bottom rail will tighten. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a lot better than what it is now. Again, that's 49 years old, and that curl, we can't get all that curl out, but it'll definitely be noticeable when we put the bottom rail and new tension wire back on.
And once we approve this, what's the timeline to have the
So
job?
we're planning on starting on the 14th. I would like to get the fence done before, just so they're not on their knees with knee pads scuffing up the new surface. So if it does get approved tonight, I will make a phone call first thing in the morning to try to get the fence repair done first. And then projection is the 14th for True Line to start of May.
Okay, excellent. We'll have it done before we have another chairman. Yes, Elaine.
I was just going to say, how long will it be down?
About 2 weeks, they're estimating, 2 to 3 weeks for the conversion and the resurfacing.
Okay, thank you.
Will all the courts be out of action at the same time?
Yes, we will close down because half the guys will be over there pressure washing and they'll be prepping the other side.
That's what I figured. Okay. No other questions? Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the bid award for the tennis courts for resurfacing of the court conversion at Bob Kildee Park with, who is it we're doing it with?
True Line Construction.
True Line
Resurfacing.
with True Line Construction resurfacing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Please call the roll.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Chairman Malloy?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay. Item 8C, consideration of potential staffing and operational changes to the skate park. That would be Eric Story's item.
Good evening, Chairman Malloy, members of the board, general manager, staff, guests, and viewers at home. Eric Story, I'm your Recreation Services Manager, and tonight we will be talking about the skate park. So it is recommended that the board provide direction to staff regarding potential staffing and operational changes to the district skate park. So a little background. In 1998, the district identified a need for a community skate park. The purpose of this was to give youth a safe environment, free from cars, shopping, carts, and other collisions with non-skaters. The original design of the skate park did not include a fence. However, shortly after, the district did identify a need for that and did construct one. There are currently two main methods by which districts, agencies, cities, counties, whatnot, operate skate parks. The first is without staff, but provided that the skate park has rules and regulations attached to it. The second is with staff, with the same rules and regulations attached. So the district has operated the first 10 years under the first method, so it did not have staffing. Since 2009, so roughly the last 8-9 years, the district has staffed the skate park due to safety concerns, as well as to monitor activities and provide a safer environment. So currently, Ordinance 8 outlines skateboarding, inline skating, and roller skating regulations in page 243, page 23, section 243. The skate park itself is a pay-to-play facility. It's staffed weekdays 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and on weekends from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We do sell day passes for $5 as well as annual passes for $20. And the district currently budgets $23,000 to staff the facility, and since 2013 have had 39 injuries and 1 pending lawsuit. So here's the skate park at Bob Kildee Community Park. Our analysis covered 8 areas of consideration, the first being legal and code requirements for operation. The second was the Judicial Council Report, Health and Safety Code sections 115800, the staffing and operational comparison with other regional and local skate parks, reported injuries at skate parks from 2015 to 2017, the current skate park operations, staffing, and revenue of the district, citation process and fees, the sales and refunding of annual passes, as well as proposed hours of operation. The analysis. In your packet, you have a lengthy compilation of various codes and requirements from the state of California. To summarize, the codes define hazardous recreational activities to include skateboarding or other wheeled recreational devices, these being non-motorized bicycles, scooters, inline skates, roller skates, or wheelchairs that cause injury if it was a stunt, trick, or luge. It also defines the age requirement as 12 years of age or older, and it requires that agencies, cities, counties, districts, whatnot, to have ordinance and facility signage with specific language and a citation process in place for use of the facility. The second part was the Judicial Council Report. This was required in earlier versions of the codes that required agencies to report injuries at specific skate parks. Not in the first one, which was in March 2002, nine agencies reported 80 injuries for calendar year 2001. The second Judicial Council report, which was in March 2011, 34 agencies reported 792 injuries, and this covers the year 2002 through 2010. In both of those reports, there was no lawsuits or claims filed. In your packet, you'll also find a comparison of other regional and local skate parks that staff analyzed. We identified 21 of them that were similar in various ways, to include pay-to-play versus no-cost facilities, staff versus non-staffed facilities, those that required and or had signage and ordinance requirements. In the analysis, 7 of the 19 are currently staffed. The district from 2015 to 2017, so 3 calendar years, reported 39 injuries. Of those, 19 were minor bruises, 6 were non-skating seizures, and I'll put an asterisk next to it because it was the same individual, 12 minor lacerations, and 2 head injuries. So currently, we staff the skate park weekdays 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. with 1 staff. On weekends, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a split shift. It's not one person typically there the entire day. We do sell day passes at $5, annual passes at $20. And again, we spend $23,000 currently in staffing. And fiscal year to date, as of the report, our revenues were $5,600. In Ordinance A, there is a citation process and fees that we have in writing that includes the authority to enforce and protect health public. Ordinance 8 includes the authority and enforcement to protect public health, safety, and resources under the district care, the skate park. And this is in section 103 and 104. We also have the authority. This authority also covers park rangers' designation as peace officers, Penal Code 830.31, section B, as well as the citation process. We identified fees in the ordinance, and the fees and process described are also in Ordinance 8, sections 105, 106, 107, and 108. So additional background on this is we met with the Policy Committee on February 22nd, March 15th, and April 19th. During those meetings, it was recommended to provide the option of refunding 100% of the fees associated with the annual passes, and we'll get to the refunding here shortly. As of now, staff recommend two items on this. First is to discontinue sales of annual passes effective May 2nd, 2018, which is today. And second item is the refunding of the current passes that have been purchased during this fiscal year. We have three options. 50% refund on passes purchased prior to January 1st, 2018, and 100% refund on all passes purchased this fiscal year. So essentially, if you purchased it July 1 of last year, you've already used more than 50% of the year. If you bought it January 1, you'd only have 50% of the year remaining until the new fiscal year. That was the methodology behind option A. As the committee recommended, 100% refund on all passes that were purchased. And then option 3 is a prorate on the pass per month. So that would essentially be $1.67 per month of non-use if we want to do that option. So the proposed hours of operation, should the board approve to not staff the skate park, is as follows. Unsupervised would be sunrise to sunset, so during daylight hours. And this is a pending ranger availability as well as weather. And then on Saturdays, we're proposing a supervised skate session from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and this would be for under 12 with all required safety equipment at no cost. So as part of this process, we'd also like to make sure our users are fully aware of what we're doing and what we're proposing. So should the board approve or provide direction, we would notify our users in the following ways. Through social media. Currently, we use social media for any type of closures or updates or maintenance items to ensure that the word is getting out there. We'd also use email marketing. Our current database is around 10,000, 10,000 subscribers. We would also post facility signage letting them know the process and what we're proposing. as well as outreach to current users. So when you come and purchase a yearly pass, you sign a form that provides your information to include email address. And then finally, word of mouth. In our current model, our rec leaders have the ability to talk to our users, to let them know what's going on. And when something like this, a big change like this happens, there will be a lot of word of mouth that would happen. Now, the fiscal impact associated, there is none currently, but should the board decide to discontinue daily staffing of the skate park, there could be approximate net savings of roughly $15,000 per year. It is recommended that the board provide direction to staff regarding potential staffing and operational changes to the district skate park. Thank you.
Questions? No questions?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
I do too.
Okay. Director Magner.
Eric, why the supervised skating from 10 to 2? Is that just so the younger kids would have a safe time to be out there and be supervised?
Yes, Director.
You say there's no fiscal impact, but if we're giving rebates, it's a fiscal impact.
It would be, but there was also a huge cost savings in terms of the staffing and operation of the skate park. So there would be a cost savings in terms of the staffing, but a loss of any potential revenue based on the A, B, or C decision by the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Director Kelly.
Is staff recommendation based on what came out of the policy committee? Or your own analysis?
It was, let me answer this. We actually took this policy, and I think policy's direction was to move this to full board, but it was to look at not staffing it every day, and actually part of policy was looking at the skating on Saturday and being staffed on Saturday.
So let me make sure I get this straight. This is basically a repudiation of what was voted on, what was it, 6, 7, 8 years ago in regard to the problems that had arisen due to some malcontents that would show up at the skate park and start fights and do things they weren't supposed to do. Is basically we're just repudiating that policy and that vote that was taken at that time. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes. So I think, exactly. So I think after the analysis, right now, you're correct in that statement. I think the other thing to kind of further that is the fact that right now, there's not many days that you drive by that skate park, and if it's before 2 p.m., we have people jumping the fence and trying to get in there because they want to use the skate park, which is where you want them. But because we don't staff it from sunrise to sunset, we have a problem on that side because now we're calling rangers to get them out of a skate park, which is kind of where you want them. So you've kind of got that on both sides.
So what are we going to do when we end up with the same problems that we had last time that precipitated the rules that we now presently have?
I think Director Mishler wants to answer that one.
Basically, I was telling staff that one of our signs out there should be if you can't follow the good behavior or whatever, then we have the board has the option to shut down the facility. Basically, if the community can't use the facility, in a correct take care of each other, then we don't need it. We can shut it down. They can all go up to Moore Park.
And currently in our skate park rules, it does say that the district has the ability and will shut down the skate park should there be any unruly conduct or bad behavior, if you will.
I remember one of our staff members taking some fairly heavy abuse from the people. In fact, there was there, I can't remember who got clocked, but one of the unruly individuals took a swung and hit one of our staff members in the face. I mean, I hope that we're not setting ourselves up for that type of thing, because while recreational use for government entities does have some immunities, it might not have immunity for somebody getting attacked by unruly members of the public when the district was acutely aware of the potential for that problem arising. So I think I get it.
Do you want to recommend another option or something?
No, I understand that nobody's as stingy with the taxpayers' dollar as I am, and the other members of this board, by the way. I can't tell if it's a good idea or not. I'm not necessarily against it. I can't tell if it's a good idea or not, because I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we could try it, and maybe the sign, that sounds like a good idea, but I don't know if that particular idea will sell.
Dr. Dick?
Yeah, I wasn't on the board at the time the vote was made to enclose the facility, but I don't know whether I would use the term repudiation. I might consider it more of a reconsideration, and taking into consideration the financial issues. We do operate almost 30 parks, none of which are enclosed most of the time, and none of which have on-site supervisors, and we don't have thugs beating people up in all of our parks. The potential is there for that to happen anywhere. But I just consider this another one of our facilities at our parks, and that I think we serve the users better by making it an open facility that's more accessible. And if it turns out that we're wrong and there's a problem, we can certainly go back, and the fence is going to still be there. We can just lock it again and put staff back in there and just go back to the old ways if this doesn't work. So I don't consider this a problem. I think it's something we should move forward with. It'll make it more accessible to the skaters and save us money in the process.
If we need more space for pickleball, when we have more space available for pickleball in the future.
You have a city council member down your throat, I'm saying. What time, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
At what time did we have the skate park open this last Saturday? Supervised about 11 or so?
It would be 11 to about 6 o'clock.
Okay, because I was there about 8:45, and there must have been 8 or 10 people in there, and I knew there was no reason to call Park Patrol, so I just kind of went, okay, just don't kill yourselves as you're going over the fence either way. So I think it would be safer to have the gate open, and because they're going to be in there anyhow.
And we are still seeking legal review on this with our
Okay.
lawyer. Inside inside your packet, you'll find that there is language within the framework from the state that states by having all these certain requirements, it does provide some level of immunity, if you will, or coverage of protection that we are trying our best to protect our users if they are following the ordinance and the rules.
Okay, I was actually here when the skate park was built, and the attorneys told us that to limit our liability, we had to make it open to everyone and not supervise it, that by supervising it, we created potential liability. A logic that to this day escapes me, but that's what we did. And we didn't have much of a park patrol program back then, and we did have a lot of problems. And I would say to the skater community that this is going to be a big opportunity for them to get a lot more use out of this park, but it's up to them to take care of it and to be respectful of the other skaters in the park as well as other park users, because like many of the unique things that we do here, we're really proud of them, but we're not married to any of them. And if it can't be done safely for everyone, including our staff that cleans up the place, it will come out of our portfolio in a flash. So I've been worried about this, but I'm willing to support giving people the freedom to enjoy more and do more with it, and hope that comes out right. We do have a very capable park patrol, and we do have a pretty good sized fence. So if there are problems, we can close it up and send people home for a few days until everybody gets the message. So I think this is well worth trying, and it's very well thought out. Obviously, the committee's worked hard on this, examining a lot of the details, and I'm real comfortable with what they've proposed. So, is there any more questions or discussion? Okay, do I have a motion?
Is this is a director providing direction, or are we making a motion on it?
What do you need, Mary? We need a...
You can give two things. You can give direction, or you can make a motion to to go with the method of not staffing, with the exception on Saturdays. And then you could also give direction whether you want to refund, which refund method you would like to go for.
Okay, we have that. Can we go back to that slide on the refund options? I think we all want to have it open on Saturday, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was going to say. Let's make that motion first.
I think that, well, we'll just make it all one motion. I think that's an easy one.
Okay.
The refund is the thing we got to figure out. Now, you said 100% refund on all passes purchased this fiscal year. This fiscal year would go back to July 1st, 2017. You meant calendar year, didn't you? Because you had prior to January 1st, this 50%, and then after that would be...
That's correct.
Calendar year. Right?
That's correct.
Okay. I think we all know what you mean. It just, you got the word fiscal instead of calendar. So what's easier for staff?
We're going to have to, we need to do refunds either way. So I was actually having this conversation with Leo. So I think probably option A or B is going to be easier. Looking at time. So if the board's direction was to go this route, what we would actually do is actually start this on July 1, which would give us time, because we're going to have to amend the ordinance. And I've already talked to the attorney about what that looks like. We just need to beef that up. So that will give us time to beef that up, come back, because there's signs that we have to post. So if you do it July 1, anybody that purchased a pass from July 1, 17 through January, we could do a 50%, and anybody that purchased a pass starting January 1 to now, we would refund, and starting tomorrow, we wouldn't charge for passes at this point.
Well, let me ask a question, Mary. With that, are you saying this whole policy with the opening it up and stuff, that won't happen until July 1st?
Correct, because we've got to make sure, one of the pieces of this is we've got to have specific language posted in our ordinance, as well as posted at the skate park. So we need to be able to do both of those.
I didn't realize it was going to take that long. I'm sorry, I should have asked that back in our committee meetings. If that's true, we should have another option up there, which is not to refund anything, because don't these passes start on July 1st?
No, they start when you purchase them.
For the 12-month period?
That is correct.
Oh, okay, I understand.
So we could potentially get it before the board in June, if if everything aligns up, so.
Yeah, so I guess, knowing now that we're not talking about until July 1st, I would probably just go with option A up there, I would think. I don't know, it's up to the board. I mean, Neil Dixon and myself during the committee, we were bouncing back and forth on this. We really don't have a recommendation per se, but we were both leaning toward the 100% maybe.
I think the difference is, we're talking, it was $1.67 a month or something like that. I mean, the differences are so small that I think whatever is easiest for staff is probably what ought to be.
We're talking $20 per year, so yeah.
So you want to go with prorate skate? We'll go with option C, prorate skate passes on a monthly basis.
No, option A.
You want option A? Okay.
I thought option A would be the easiest, but I don't know. It's up to you guys. If you have a better.
Well, we have really sharp staff. They can take
Leo,
12 minus
what's the easiest?
6
A?
Whatever the board wants.
Let's go with A.
Yeah.
Leo. Well,
Okay.
So
Either
should we just?
one or any of the three, it doesn't. The option C would be the most time consuming. A and B, there's no difference. We still have to set up each one of the vendors in our AP file to cut a check. So as far as time-consuming prorating would be the most time-consuming.
I'll make a motion to discontinue sales of annual passes effective tomorrow, May 3rd, and to provide a 50% refund on passes purchased prior to January 1st, 2018, and 100% refund on all passes purchased this calendar year. Will that work?
It'll get a second from the chair.
Oh, okay.
So does that mean that if somebody comes in to buy a pass tomorrow, and you tell them, well, you don't have to buy a pass anymore, so you can go use the skate park for free, but the other people that already have passes will use them until...
Yes, because we don't want to sell a 2-month pass.
Right.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah,
in
and-
other words, some people are getting it for free and some people are paying. Is what
No,
I'm getting.
well, no, because they will, I think we would need to prorate it to like or tomorrow.
So
Not
any,
prorated, but.
so let me see if I can, so anybody that purchased one from January 1 until current will receive 100%.
Yes.
They'll get that back. So even if they purchased one 3 weeks ago,
Yes.
if this goes through, they'll get that back. So you're the same.
Yes.
Being that we have to get new language, anybody that purchased one last July, so July 1, 2017 through December 2017 will receive half of it back, which is $10, which still means they'll be receiving more back than what they originally paid for. So we erred on the side of to ensure that everybody received more back, being that we're going to be people won't have to pay.
No, Bob, nobody will have to pay now, and they're not going to have to pay any more, and they're going to actually get a refund.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah,
that.
okay.
And the new passes, people get it for free.
Yeah.
They get a free pass.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to add on to that same proposal, about opening up the park and leaving the fence up and going with the Saturday staffing?
Okay, we'll go with the option that the staff recommended to leave the fence up, not staff it, except Saturdays from 10 to 2 for U12 usage.
Right, that was
Okay,
a
all right.
proposal. Okay.
And that will begin July 1st, or will that begin now?
That will begin as soon as we can change the ordinance. So if we can change that sooner, that will need to come back before the board. So the soonest we could do it is in June. So if we can get everything, we'd prefer to do it in June. If not, then it would be July 1.
Or should we just approve the refund part of it now and then have you bring back all the signage and have us approve all that later? Would that be better, or can we sort of...
I think if you approve all of this now, then what we'll do is we'll come back. So the direction will be is we'll come back in June with the updated language for the ordinance, for Ordinance 8.
Yeah, on these guidelines.
Correct.
Got that, Karen? I'll do whatever needs to be said. Okay.
You want a second?
I thought Mark already seconded.
Yeah,
Oh, you already did?
And I'll
Okay.
I'll resecond my
Okay.
amendment. I'll
Okay.
resecond the amended motion. So please call the roll.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Chairman Malloy,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Since I am not sure about this particular item, I don't think enough discussion has taken place about the reasons why we did what we did a number of years ago. I'm going to abstain from this vote.
He doesn't want to repudiate our previous action.
Repudiate.
Repudiate, yes. I love
Mark, you wanna make-
I love attorney words.
You just want to say the motion passed for me?
Motion passes
4-0.
4-0. Thank you. Okay. Item 9, informational items. First is me, and I'll start with a few of the events we had this month. The senior rummage sale just gets bigger every time. Congratulations, Jane. There's huge crowds, really busy. Lots of great stuff too. Good shopping opportunities. I stopped by and looked at the Kildee picnic area, which is coming out really nice. I was there about 10 in the morning, and the tighter spacing of the boards across the top was providing full shade at early in the morning when the sun is at a little bit of an angle. So really looks nice, really looks sturdy, and they've done a nice job painting it. It looks really first rate. So I'm looking forward to that being done. I wanted to also thank staff for the great job on the rec guide that we just received. Really outstanding, just loaded with information and so much stuff, which of course we saw here tonight. I'd also like to let everybody know that tomorrow night is at 5 p.m. is our next budget meeting, and we'll be talking about a lot of interesting things, which the paper I had here, Andy describes. The recreation services and administrative services we covered last week, and tomorrow's meeting we're going to cover parks, assessment, and capital projects, which is one of the biggest knobs we turn each year is what capital projects we work on. So that'll be very interesting to those interested in the district's operations. Also, I went on the Hoover Dam water tour with Director Mishler and Director Dixon, and it was really interesting, and I'm sure they'll comment on it as well. But one of the things that really struck me the most in touring Southern California's water as it leaves Boulder Dam and comes down to Colorado and comes to us, that this project was funded in the 30s with a $200 million bond issue, which, as you can imagine, during the Depression was just a massive amount of money. And 6 different entities committed to building this project. And those 6 different entities are in a really good position to have their water needs met because they committed at the front end and financed and did the project. And Metropolitan Water District just last week made a very similar decision to agree to fund the California Water Fix project. And the aqueduct was built 90 years ago, and it's making a lot of money for Metropolitan, and it's providing tremendous service to a population of 22 million people in Southern California. And we're going to be in the same situation for the long term based on Metropolitan's decision with this, because they're going to own the only reliable source of water from Northern California, where the rain is, to Southern California, where the 22 million people are. And it's a very similar sort of decision that happened last week to what happened in the 1930s. And, it's easy for us in public service to think about the problems we have today, like in our skate park and our budget and all those sort of things. But the really big decisions that people make for the long haul really have a tremendous long-term impact on our quality of life. And that was the thing that came through the most, is that when you agree to do big things happen for a really long time for the good of the community. So that's all I have. Next is Ventura County Special Districts.
We didn't have a meeting in the month of, we already reported on it.
We did?
So, yeah.
Okay. How about CSDA?
That's my second home, thank you. First of all, I just want to acknowledge to everyone that I appreciate serving on the California Special Districts Association Board and have been reelected since no one is running against me. So,
our favorite way to be reelected.
Yeah. So I will be on it for another 3 years, and they've already assigned me to my committees, which is interesting. But as you know, I've been up there 3 times this month, and the meetings are packed with 300 to 400 page agendas, and we go through so much, and the legislative issues are so intense that it's unbelievable. There's nothing really new to report this week. As Mary and I hear updates from legislative people in the advocacy office, we'll let you know, but we haven't seen anything. I would expect that things are going to start moving again pretty quickly. They're holding a lot of committee meetings, so that's where we're at now. And Mary and I and Mike will be in Sacramento May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd for legislative days, and we'll be meeting with the legislative people from, or their staff from our areas, so on issues that, at that point, they decide the issues we're going to discuss with our legislative people depending on what the where they are in the committees and things. So we really don't know what we're going to be discussing until we get up there. So I'm looking forward to it. So it should be interesting.
Santa Monica Mountains, Mike.
No meeting this last month.
Okay. Standing committees, finance. We're in great shape. Budget's rolling right along as per usual. We had that brief bit of rain, which helped us with a little catch up on our water. I was worried that we were going to be over budget on our water, but it looks like we're going to make it okay. Still has a lot to do with the weather in the next 60 days, but everything else is tracking on track. And as you all saw the email, we got our second payment on property tax, and it came in comfortably above budget. With the lion's share of our income coming from that property tax, that's a huge whew, off of Leo's head and mine as well. So we're looking real good on finances. Liaison.
We didn't really. Our last meeting was our meeting here with the city council. So I don't know that we need to report anything more on that. We're going back to committee again to revisit the issue. I have some other comments I'll make under the personal sections.
All right. You're meeting what, in 3 weeks?
May 17th.
May 17th. Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
All right. Personnel.
We are moving forward. We discussed items that you saw in the budget package last week, and we are preparing to. We have a meeting next week, and I can already tell you what's going to be in it. We are going to be discussing the general manager's contract.
Okay.
Preparing for that.
Okay. Policy. Do we have anything other than the policy item we just covered?
We didn't. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Well, we're working on various issues, in terms of fees and various types of things and stuff. So, that's been ongoing for a long time. So.
Okay.
I have no idea what the completion date on that will be.
Okay. Foundation.
My goodness, we've been busy, or I should say, Megan has been busy. We had a successful day at Cronies. We raised a little over $100 on our raffle, and we don't have an exact number on our percentage that we will get from the food. I do have to thank staff and their immediate families and their extended families, and the board members who partook. Also, the public. It was wonderful. I just couldn't get over all the people that showed up. So thank you again. And we have an upcoming one at Toppers on the 22nd from, I believe it's 3:30 to 9. And we'd like everybody to join us at Toppers because we will be getting 20%. And you can get your flyers from a staff member or from the front office or from Constant Contacts or from social media. We are doing all of it, so just make sure you take in a copy of your flyer. Also, this week you should have gotten the save the date for our 4th annual Party for the Parks, which will be August 25th. So please save your date, and you'll get this beautiful card in the mail, so be looking for it. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody.
Great. Thank you, Elaine. General Manager's report. Mary.
I actually don't have anything right now since I think everybody has hit everything that we've talked about. So legislative-wise, updates with Capitol. Once again, we had the Senior Expo yesterday. Wanted to thank staff that put that on. Great event. We had over 70-plus vendors and probably had at least 3,000 people that came through. So thank you for everybody that attended. It was a great event.
Outstanding. Okay, oral communications. Start with you, Dr. Dixon.
Okay, well, I too went on the Metropolitan Water District tour to the Hoover Dam and the aqueduct system bringing water from the Colorado River. And the thing that struck me about that was the amazing courage and foresight that the people who undertook this project had. It's a project that at the time must have been a humongous undertaking in terms of bringing that kind of money into a project during the midst of a depression, but we are benefiting from that today. The project, when it was first built, they installed 3 pumps to pump water out of the Colorado River, but they had the vision to realize that the future was going to require more. And so they actually built the project to allow for 9 pumps. And as of today, all 9 pumps are in and all are functioning and all are needed. And which brings me to our project that we are considering for the community center and the senior center going forward. It just reminds me of how we need to also be thinking about not only what we need today, but what we need for our community in the future, and we need to have the courage to undertake this project. And I know that there was a lot of sticker shock when we all looked at those numbers, but I think when we put it in perspective and go back and look at it further, I think we're going to find that a project, maybe not as exactly as proposed at our last meeting with the City Council, but I think a project similar to that will serve our community on into the future is doable, and I hope that we have the courage to go forward with it.
Thank you. Director Kelly.
I think at this point in time, we probably have the best people working at an entity that we've ever had. Not that we haven't had some great people that have worked here in the past, but in my opinion, this is the best of the best. Everybody's smart. I learn something from you all the time, sitting in, like this year I'm on some committees I've never been on before, and just how smart everybody is and how quick they are. I just wanted to tell you, because I don't tell you enough, that I'm very impressed. Also, I want to reiterate something. I refer to this board here as the Brain Trust, because it actually is. I don't think I ever come here where I don't learn something. I may not always agree with everybody, but I always learn something. And that's kind of my goal, is to leave here and learn at least one thing before I go. And when you're around this many smart people, it almost has to happen. And so in that regard, I'm glad to be a member of this board these last 12 years. And I want to, again, thank the people that allowed me to serve them. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Magner.
I'm just about talked out. But once again, I want to thank staff. I'm like Director Kelly. I'm very impressed with our current staff. Not that I wasn't with the previous people, but let me tell you, it's a pleasure to come in and work with you guys. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I send an email in with a question, and I get a response, and it's just, I really appreciate that. So keep up the good work, and we'll move forward, and we'll see all of you tomorrow night.
Director Mishler.
Well, thank you, staff, first of all, for the Expo 50 Plus. I attended there. Mark was there. I'm not sure if anybody else made it there, but it was very well set up and organized and run. Like Matt said earlier, the restrooms are nice. Everybody is commenting about the ladies' restrooms have now been completed and stuff. And like Director Mark Malloy mentioned, the patio has been completed, and that looks much nicer now. We're almost complete. I guess we've got a few items left. So we're making good headway in all that. Like has already been mentioned, I was on the Colorado River inspection. They actually call it an inspection trip. I think it's the technical name for it or whatever. But 3-day trip. And I just want to follow up on what Director Neil Dixon was saying. What's impressive is some of those original generators from the 1930s, they're still there. They're still running in Hoover Dam and in the pump stations and all that stuff. You know, they've replaced some of the parts and components in there, but that's the original. They got dials. We went into one of the control rooms, and this thing is like 1930. I mean, they have the original dials and knobs of how you control this, all the intake and outtake. I mean, they got one pump that's been digitalized, but the other 8 are still back with original dials and gauges and stuff. I mean, they got original equipment in there. They actually brought a new phone in now, so before they had a ring-up phone in there, I guess, or something. But so anyway, but it's amazing that they have all that equipment out there, and they've been maintaining it and working with it and keeping it running. I also want to give special credit for those who don't know. Steve Boyes is our representative from Ventura County on the Metropolitan Water District. And he was a person who basically almost single-handedly worked with the other, made calls and worked with people and got the vote to go from one tunnel back up to 2 tunnels. So our own Steve Boyes, who lives here in Camarillo and represents Ventura County on Metropolitan Water District, did a lot of work behind the scenes to actually change it, because the original vote, they were thinking of just going down to 1 tunnel. And it was Steve Boyes' personal work who got it back up to 2 tunnels on that. And we all owe him a big special thank you. And then the last thing I want to mention is this liaison committee study workshop thing. You guys are meeting on May 17th. I would propose that maybe after that or sometime later this month, maybe in the last half of the month then, if we can have a workshop or something, maybe, for Mary and staff to look at potentially having a workshop to update the whole board and make sure we're on the same wavelength and we're all going together in the same direction. Sometimes I get a little nervous because we can't go around talking, as everybody knows here in the audience, because of the Brown Act. We can't talk to each other about what's going on. And so a lot of that stuff I'm completely in the dark, except when the consultants talk or bring up something. And I think it'd be good for all of us, for the full board, to get back up to speed on exactly what's going on, give us a status report, and make sure that we're going down the right path or something from the whole board. Because as the public should know already, we have 2 committee members on that liaison committee, but they don't actually make decisions for the full board like all of our committees. None of our committees do that. So we just need to bring it back up to the full board, because basically, except for that presentation we had a month ago, I know nothing more now than I did 6 months ago. And this is a long time to go without, bringing this up to speed and making sure we're kind of seeing what's going on. I'd like to be caught up on that at some point, working with Mark Malloy on that to set up a date maybe for a workshop. Okay, thank you.
Okay, does staff have any items they'd like to cover off? No, staff wants to go home. Long day for you guys. We are adjourned.
Did you ever get a letter from a laptop?